Oh, yeah. All right, we'll call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, on the consent agenda, we've got the minutes from the January 7th council meeting, the January 13th Community Center Commission meeting, January 8th Housing and Redevelopment Authority meeting, and the January 13th EDA meeting, and the regular bills. And added on to that is a contractor payment for Ziegler that will move under new business but needs to be added in the consent agenda. Everyone read everything?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Scott, second by Jim. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Caught myself up there. Then we have department heads. Anything from any department heads?
Good evening. Just wanted to introduce myself to the council. I'm Matt Fast, born and raised in Butterfield. Was lucky enough you guys hired me to be your building official, and working with Andy to get that. Okay. That's all I got.
Been on the job since 13th of January.
Yeah,
Been
started
on the
last.
job since 13th of January and kind of working with Andy to kind of get acclimated and.
Yep. Get certifications, so on and so forth. But yeah, started the 13th and enjoying it so far. So thank you.
It's January, so you're not too busy with building permits right now, right?
Right.
And just being on the personnel committee, hiring you and interviewing or whatever, I welcome you aboard, and just so the public knows you have a lot of experience in buildings and blueprints, and you came with a wealth of knowledge. So we welcome you to the city of Windom, and hope you stick around for a long time.
All right, thank you.
I also want to welcome to the city of Windom and city council here, and if there's anything us members as a city council can do to help you out, to help your job or anything we need, feel free to holler out. We're ready for you too. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that.
I also want to welcome you, and don't be nervous there. I'm new here too. I'm nervous. We're going to be fine.
Okay.
It's okay. So thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Anything else? Okay. Any other department heads? Thanks, Matt. Hello, Kari.
Kari Hansen, Library. January 1st, we started our winter reading program for adults. The theme is Get Your Mitts on a Good Book. And the goal is for the participant to read 12 books between January 1st and March 31st. And we've already had one person last week turn in her list already. She's already read 12 books, so I know, it's amazing. So, but yeah, come on in and see us and get signed up for the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Kari. 12 books in 21 days. What a deal. Was it you? No?
No, I'm not, I'm guessing maybe somebody retired, I don't know.
Okay, any other department heads? Nobody? Okay. We're moving on to public comment. Mike Laurie, who is not currently here.
I know I've touched base with them about the date and time. I believe others have as well. So maybe you want to move to the next item and table this one and see if he is a little bit late and work on the rest of your business. That's up to you all.
I'd make a motion to table this and see if he is able to show up later.
I'll second it.
Right, we've got a motion by Jason and second by Scott to table the public comment by Mike Laurie, and if he shows up, we'll take it then. Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Any discussion? Okay. All right, now we will move on to resolutions accepting donations. We had a donation to the Windom Community Senior Center by the Ronald Flatguard Estate in the amount of $1,000 to be used for the senior center at the Windom Community Center, which is very generous and much appreciated. Do we need to do these in two separate? Okay, so
I'll make a motion to accept the Ron Flatguard
I'll
donation.
second.
okay, motion by Scott, second by Jim to accept the donation from the Ron Flatguard Estate to the Community Center Senior Center in the amount of $1,000. All those in favor? Oh, sorry.
Roll call.
I'll get this someday. So Steve's gonna do a roll call.
Okay. Benson,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Esplin, Nelson,
Yes.
Quaid.
Yes.
Okay, and then we have, is there anything after that that I need to say? Then we move on to the resolution accepting the donation from Dorothy Van Norman to the Windom Public Library.
I would introduce the resolution for authorization to accept a donation from Dorothy Vanderman to the Windom Public Library.
I'll second.
Motion by Jason, second by Jim. Any discussion? Roll call.
Okay. Nelson.
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes.
Esplin. Benson.
Yes.
Quaid.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. So both of those resolutions have been authorized and accepted, and thank you to the Ronnie Flatguard Estate. I guess I call him Ronnie. He farmed next to my grandpa, and they were best friends for years, so that's awesome. And Dorothy Van Norman, thank you both. Should we move right into this one? Okay. Mike, are you ready? Yep, you're up. If you're ready, you're up. We're going to go back to the public comment from Mike Laurie. Welcome, Mike. So this is a public comment, and is it 5 minutes? Steve? 5 minutes. So I don't mean to put the timer on you or anything, but as I understand it, that's,
I think I can say what I want to say in 5 minutes. I have 7 calls to action for the city. It's up to you to suspend your own rules. That's council's
You have to make a motion to suspend.
I'd make the motion to hear what he has to say.
I'll second it.
okay, we've got a motion by Jim and a second by Scott to suspend the rules and hear what Mike has to say. All those in favor? Any discussion? I'm sorry, any discussion?
Are we setting any kind of limit, or you're just
That was my
giving an
question. Are you
open-
gonna have another time,
Normally
or are you
there's
just
some
gonna
kinda-
call it the chair or whatever your motion is?
Maybe we could set a little more generous time parameter, perhaps? Maybe cap it at something? Are you guys comfortable with 8 minutes or 10 minutes? To be
10
double?
minutes work for you, Scott? Mike?
No?
I would think, I would honestly think that you want to give us that, so it's-
We'll have to see if we can get 15 minutes to be added with a second. So we would have an additional thing onto the motion, adding potentially 15 minutes as a time limit. Is there someone who would like to?
Mr. Nelson would have to agree to it.
I guess I would like to hear what he has to say, whether it be 15 minutes or whatever.
All right. There's.
Scott,
I'll
was the
second
seconder, whether he would concur?
I'll second it, yeah.
Okay. And then discussion.
Yep, now's discussion on the motion to suspend the rules with a 15-minute time limit.
Okay, any further discussion on that? All right, motion carries, made by, all those in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. No further discussion? Motion carries. Okay, you got the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to submit this. I also have it written, and I will make it transparent. I mean, I'm not here just to speak to you. I'm actually trying to speak to the citizens of Windom, which I indicated in the 6-page email, which I wrote to the city council, and so the public should know that. I am here to speak to you guys, and I only met Jason and Hillary last week, but I know the rest of you from almost a year and a half of experience covering this city council, just for the public to know one of the reasons why I'm here. And the email that I sent for the public's knowledge here and the newspaper's knowledge here, the email that I sent included a lot of information about vaccine injuries, specifically COVID messenger RNA vaccine injuries. The context for why I'm giving this information is when I quit my job at the Citizen, when I resigned, it was over a vaccine injury story on a woman named Donna Vosberg. Did you receive that information and that story? And so now that's the story that the public did not get because of, in my opinion, censorship at the Citizen at the time I was there, and that was their choice, and I left. It was my decision to leave and do it, and they were gracious enough to let me publish that story with Alpha News. And as I wrote to the city council, but for the public's information, about 100,000 people have seen the video and interview in that story on Rumble, on the Rumble platform, which I don't know if you checked that out or not to confirm that, but that's the truth. That's what happened. So the story that originated here in Cottonwood County and is connected to the Sanford Health System in Westbrook, where Donna Vosberg was a nurse for 29 years. She actually cared for my father and many other people in Cottonwood County, was an outstanding nurse. And when I quit my job over this issue, I thought, well, I can be wrong about anything, and I'm going to follow this issue quite closely because I'll need to repent of it to my wife, to my friends and family, my other people in the Christian faith that I have. So I wanted to follow this issue closely going forward because if I'm wrong, I want to say I'm wrong, and I want to apologize to my wife. I shouldn't have quit my job. I want to apologize to other people who may have been hurt by it because I certainly don't want to cause fear. And that's not what I'm here for tonight. I believe that truth sets you free. I believe that open public discourse is essential for this democracy. And I believe we've seen so much censorship in this country, and I'm not a victim. I'm actually, I'm just talking about a trend that we see society-wise where we don't want to talk about things openly. And the vaccine injury story is one that has been censored and suppressed all over the country. The New York Times did one vaccine injury story in 3 years. That's the paper of note in the country. And we have to, I'm not naive and I'm not going to give a lecture or speech on these things, but the context we have to realize, the pharmaceutical industry in this country is a $500 billion a year industry. The Mexican drug cartels only do from 20 to 50 billion a year, which is a huge enterprise. They're powerful, right? We know they're super powerful. They actually probably controlled our borders the last 4 years. They're super powerful, but the pharmaceutical industry is a giant, and I think people don't realize the power and the influence they have on our little local systems here, and some of the things that have gone on. The 7 things that I wanted to get to in the list, I wanted to set a context for why I'm here. Donna Vosberg, one part of the story in the interview you see that I want to make clear to the public is that one of the reasons, and I never talked about this because Donna, when we did the story, she said, I'm going to take a lot of crap for this. My family doesn't even want me to tell this story. But she said, I've prayed about this and I'm dying. I'm blind and I have a failing kidney. And she said, I prayed about it, and for the first time in my life, I felt like the Lord answered me and said, you tell the truth. You tell about what happened to you. Your story has dignity. You tell the truth. And she said, that's why you got in the door here today to do this reporting and tell this story. But she said, I really have to try and tell the truth. Well, when I didn't get the story published, there was a conversation I had with Donna a few weeks later. I'd taken the trip to the Philippines. My wife's family's from there, and I'd come back. And then Donna tells me, because Trevor and Ron were possibly going to let me write a column about it on the opinion page, maybe not in the news, but in the opinion page, just to get it out there. Donna said, don't write my story now. She said, you went and talked to corporate in Sioux Falls, and you asked questions on this issue. And she said, now I got taken off the kidney donor list. And I got a very carefully worded email. And that's a volatile thing to say. I don't have any proof. I don't know what the exact thing. She said the email doesn't say, that you got taken off the kidney list because you're talking about your injury. Of course not. But she said, that's almost what I feel. She says, I can't prove it and you can't prove it either. And I said, no, but I said, you need a kidney to live. I didn't get into this business of writing news at the Citizen to hurt somebody, to help hurt somebody. I was just trying to tell, well, maybe it's a defect in my personality and my character. Then I said, I'm going to put my job on the line. And that's when I went to the paper. I said, one more time, let's try this one more time. I said, I think it's vital that we publish this story because then we can do a series and maybe the truth ultimately can come out, and it's going to take more than this. And, maybe we'll find out by digging and doing things. And of course, that's when I quit my job. But I've never said that before. And I want people to know that. There was a reason I quit my job. It wasn't just about me. It wasn't about pride. I thought, well, maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'll be proved wrong. But the evidence that I gave you, and this is for the public because I know they're listening now too, it indicates that since that time 5 months ago, one of the huge concerns is that DNA fragments have been found in these vaccines, and this is now irrefutable. What is the effects of these DNA fragments that are not supposed to be in the vaccines, specifically the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines? What is the effect of that? And I understand you have to read books and you have to read studies to do this, and I understand you probably don't have time to do all that. It takes a lot of work. It has to be done by professionals. It's what the hospitals should be doing, in my opinion, for the community as a part of the public health service. Hey, this is a serious accusation, along with all the other side effects that we've seen, including blood clots, myocarditis, right? It's in the email, but I'm bringing some of these up. These are serious public health issues. And just because we wish that they weren't there or wish they weren't true, especially if you're vaccinated, that does not go against, that does not preclude finding out what the truth is anyway. Because if it is true, and these mRNA vaccines are causing this level of serious injury, not to just Donna Vosberg, but perhaps now, at the start they said maybe 1 in 14 vaccinated people will suffer some sort of injury or side effect. Now the numbers are more like 1 in 7. Okay? Think about that. Now we're talking about a lot of injured people, potentially not just tens of thousands of vaccine injured people, but hundreds of thousands of vaccine injured people. As I said in my email to the city, which is why I thought you'd be raring to hear on this and that your heart would go out on this same situation. What about the children in our community? There are 3 mRNA vaccines now suggested by the CDC for infants before they're 3 months old. This seems insane to me. This seems so reckless. This seems like a reckless endangerment of the public. And here we are 4 years later into this thing, and I feel a big cause, the reason people won't talk about this and won't address this is that there's so much liability at stake. There's so much money and blame and shame and liability at stake that for sure the pharmaceutical industry does not want to address this. There's no way they're going to address this. Now, they've gotten a gift from the government in 1986 from Reagan, and now in 2024 from Biden. We got both left and right covered you can't hold the pharmaceutical companies responsible for these vaccines. They cannot be sued. This is a sticky wicket, to say the least, but there's still a responsibility there. Here we are in Windom, locally, the state of Minnesota is going to do nothing about this. Nothing. Local politics are the only way that you're going to see anything go forward on this issue, in my opinion. It has to be local. The savior from the state or the federal government is not coming to help our children and our people deal with these things. And if there are truly vaccine injured, which I, of course, am convinced, after 5 months, after giving up my job, I've got skin in the game on this issue, believe me, okay? But it's more than that. It's about the truth. It's about taking responsibility for our fellow Americans, and we don't leave people behind in this country like this. That is not the county that I came from. I'm born north of Stoughton. I'm a farm boy from north of Stoughton, Minnesota, and when I'm coming back here after 40 years away, this is not the county, this is not the people that I think more of this county than that. We don't leave people behind like that. If they're injured legitimately, and I know there can be all sorts of cases and reasons, and people can fake things and do this and that, but there's too much evidence now. There's way too much evidence now. We have to do something. So that's why I came here to say to you. Now, I have some calls to action that I'm gonna read them to finish this up, and I understand I understand people think I'm a bit nuts. Okay, I understand that. It's okay. It's okay if people think that, and if you want to criticize me, just talk to me, call me. Anybody can do that. Please don't do it to my family. Most of them don't agree with me anyways. They would rather I just shut up. So you aren't alone if you're thinking that right now, okay? But I have a conscience, and I got radically saved 6 years ago. I've lived with an invisible injury, a TBI, for 6 years. I've been through a lot, and I'm not a victim. I'm an overcomer. And I believe I'm here for a reason. I believe I was in this job. I don't have animosity toward anybody at the Citizen. I believe everything happens for a reason. In Romans 8:28, I believe everything can come together for good for those who serve God and are called according to his purpose. I 100% believe that. And I don't see any obstacle as insurmountable. I've overcome so many things in my life the last 6 years, you would not believe me if I went into my testimony. But it's true. And I believe the truth has power that set us free, and with faith in the Lord, we can come through anything. It's very tough to take on. I'm going to use this metaphor. If you've ever had I'm a farm kid. If you've ever had a dog that's got out of control on your farm, the dog's purpose, like a livestock guardian dog, or I have a blue heeler, an Australian cattle dog, they're amazing working dogs. But if they get in a different pack of dogs and they start running in the country, they can go out and they can start killing things. They can start killing and injuring sheep, or they'll get in with your piglets, or they'll do this and that. Maybe some of you are farmers and have had this experience. What do you do? What do you do with the dog when they get tainted, when they get that taste of blood, when they do things? We had an event happen at our house on Christmas once when I was a kid. We had a dog that was supposed to be a sweet farm dog that bit one of my nephews viciously. And it was a nice dog, but it viciously bit my nephew. You know what my brother did? And this metaphor is going somewhere, so don't worry. This metaphor is going somewhere. My brother said, I love this dog. He had tears in his eyes. He took the dog out and he shot it, because he said, we cannot have this risk of a dog that's been tainted and running with the pack. It's too dangerous for the children on this farm. We had to do it. Lots of tears shed that day. I was only a kid myself, but my dad said that was the right thing to do. It was a hard thing to do, but it was the right thing to do. I'm not suggesting we take all the pharmaceutical giants out and shoot them in the woods, okay? I'm not suggesting that. We can't do that. As human beings, what we want is truth and reconciliation. We're civilized human beings. But do you know what? If you've got a wild, I'm going to extend the metaphor to some of the things that have happened in our medical industrial complex, I'll call it. Systems like Sanford. You better put those people on a short leash. You better retrain that. You better retrain that system and make sure that the same mistakes, people have been getting injured in this system. And if the vaccines are injuring people, the number one thing on my list of calls to action, and you can do this, they've done it in New Zealand and they've done it in other counties in America. If you own a local hospital and you look at your contract, you've probably had your contract breached in your ethics. Some people will say the Nuremberg Code was breached with these experimental vaccines. There's quite a bit of evidence calling for that. If you've looked at the Hope Accord online, have any of you looked at the Hope Accord online? It's from the medical community. It's a call for reform from within the medical community itself. The very first item on my list here, ban these mRNA vaccines locally. Ban them.
Mike, we very much appreciate you coming in, and I know that your list is going to carry us far beyond our 15 minutes right now, and I'm not coming against what you're saying at all. I'm just saying that we're now at minute number 17, and so we have to kind of abide by our time limit for right now, if that's okay. We do have the information though, and if there's any other council comments, whatever, that would be, of course, prudent.
Does anyone have any comments or anything up here?
the call to action, the information that you know, we're gonna go through, that's what you gave a copy to Hillary, so we can all have a copy of that? Is that correct? So that we can all read that? Okay.
I can, in a couple of minutes, I can quickly overview this for the public's benefit who's listening in on this meeting, if you want. I won't go into any detail.
So, I fully know that there must be a way to make this available potentially to the public, that they can, is this something that you can somehow disseminate to people in the public as well? Because they are aware of this if they're watching, and we're not trying to hold anything back, of course.
I
But,
can,
but we're kind of out of time.
Well, it would require people to go to my X account, which is my Twitter account, and I guess I could share it there. I could post it on my Twitter account, but I'm not looking to send people to my X account or get followers or anything like that, but just for the sake of making information more publicly available.
That'd be good.
I could do that.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I will make sure that the council sees all of this. I think we hate to cut you off, but we could be here for a long time. I know you have a lot to say and you're really passionate about it, and I do really enjoy listening to you. Maybe you could do a public discussion sometime that isn't where there are such time constraining rules. But I will get this out, and if you want to share with us your X account information, I'm happy to help distribute that.
It's just at Mike Laurie. I'll say this. I've sat in these council meetings. I've seen the council debate far less significant issues for an hour over an issue. And it kind of blows my mind that 17 minutes is really stretching the limits on an issue of this import. But I respect you all, okay? I respect you all, and I respect the process. I actually believe each and every one of you is called by the Lord and anointed in your position to serve the public. That's my thinking as a Christian. So I certainly don't want to disrespect the process, but I will say I'm somewhat surprised. And I would like this information to get out. The one thing I wanted to say is my third item on this list is that third floor of that hospital is a shell. And I believe it should be reserved for independent physicians, non-Sanford physicians, and I think the hospital should be urged to go out and recruit them. Dennis was on Dr. Tabor's side way back in the day when we said, "What's happened to him? Why isn't the hospital having some diversity of care for the citizens of the county and the city that is available?" And I would strongly encourage you to earmark that third floor for independent physicians and go out there and recruit them, because the Retired Association of America's headlines this week are, "Where are all the doctors going?" So many doctors are quitting the profession nationwide that many seniors are having trouble, especially in rural areas, finding care. Okay? And there are doctors that have talked to me since I've done this story, and I've talked to dozens of people. They're dying for a system they can work in that is not tied to Mayo or Sanford or any other corporate entity. Not that I'm condemning those. I want Sanford to do well here. I know many great people who work in that system. I know there's amazing people in the system. But when you have all your eggs in one basket, if anything that the last 4 years has proven us, those mandates went through like a hammer, and you had to lose your job as a nurse or a doctor in order, if you were going to not comply, or even if you were going to offer ivermectin or some of the other treatments that we now know are highly successful, which is another issue that should be addressed by the public health system.
Thank you for all the information. Just to let you know, we did vote to give you a lot of extra time for public comment, and we're glad that you came. Thank you very much, and we are going to make sure, and your X account is just Mike Laurie, right?
It's just at Mike Laurie.
At Mike Laurie, okay.
Yep.
They can go and check that out if they want. Thank you so much, though, for coming, and we're
Yes,
not,
and actually, any citizen in Windom can, my email is mikelaurie@gmail.com.
Okay.
If you want to curse me out or set me straight, just email me. I always said that at the Citizen. If I wrote something or said something that wasn't true, I'll apologize. I'll talk, you can come and talk to me like a grown man, and I will respect and talk to anybody. So I'm very willing to do that, and I thank you all very much for your time and attention tonight.
you're welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mike. So we will pick this back up at the audit engagement agreement, and Steve, you will take that over.
Yep, thank you. So in your packet is our statement of work at our master services agreement with Clifton Larson Allen. Last year, the council did a request for proposal for auditing services. Our prior auditor, Schlenner Winter, had completed their 3-year engagement with us. And so they didn't have the workforce to continue doing our audit, so we went out and solicited RFPs, reviewed those, and the preferred vendor was Clifton Larson Allen. They have familiarity with the city. They did our audit prior to Schlenner Winter. So they also have a relationship with doing the audit for the Windom Area Health, and so they're familiar with the community in that respect as well. So what we're asking for tonight is just your permission to go ahead and execute the documents necessary to get our 2025 audit started. It'll be 25 work for the 24 calendar year. And then it is a 3-year engagement, so it'll be for calendar years 24, 25, 26. The city attorney has looked at this information and has reviewed it and has recommended concurrence as long as you're good with it.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion made by Jim and second by Jason to accept the audit engagement agreement with Clifton Larson Allen LLP. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Any further discussion? Motion carries.
Thank you.
And we've now got the personnel. There was discussion on library, non-union on-call, and the part-time seasonal wage scale update. And Jason is the personnel chair, so if you would like to discuss that.
As I defer over to Steve.
Okay. I'll defer to Kari. Kari's here. Do you want to just kind of give an overview of your request, and then they can chime in for what their personnel committee recommendation was? Well,
So I had asked the Personnel Committee for a chance to present the need for an on-call staff person or two. The library is staffed by 3 of us. I'm full-time, and then there's 2 part-time staff members. And both of these part-time staff are very active, volunteering, additional jobs. So when one has to be gone, chances are that the other one has commitments that, they need to, do their volunteer or their other job. So there's plenty of times that one person is left behind to kind of take care of the public that comes in. And last spring, 2 of us were out with influenza, and that left one person standing by themselves. And we sometimes can have up to 110 people come through our doors in one day. And the needs vary from just needing to check out a book to I need to print something, I need something on the computer, so we're kind of pulled in a lot of different directions. So I wanted to have the option for us to have 1 or 2 people that could step in and cover for situations like that. I don't think the need, will be great, but it will be nice to have as an option.
And you did mention that the offset, of course, would be for when you're not available. So
Right.
the money would not be vastly different.
Right, correct.
So we need a motion for the council to approve the library non-union on-call advertising. Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the library's request.
I'll second.
Motion made by Dennis and second by Jenny. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Any further discussion? Motion carries. Then the part-time seasonal wage scale update.
Yep, I'll take care of this one. So every year we update our temporary employee, on-call employee, seasonal employee wage scale. Couple reasons to it. One is labor market is changing, but also the state of Minnesota changes the minimum wage every year by some formula that they have. So the new 2025 minimum wage is $11.13 an hour, and there's also a training wage, but of $9.08 an hour for people under 20, but we don't utilize that because we wouldn't find any help. So we have swimming pool wages as one of the council members pointed out, we're probably not going to have a pool season this year, but we might have cleanup crews, things like that. If we have work to do down there, we still may hire some folks. We'll have to see how that goes. But then we also have the seasonal non-union part-time position. So that wage scale is in front of you. The minimum wage went up by the state formula, and the seasonal non-union part-time wage stuff, we went up by a quarter an hour across the board on each one of those pieces of the scale, depending on your length of time of service with the city. So we did share this with personnel. There were no issues, no questions. It's kind of an annual piece. So we're asking for your approval of the 2025 wage schedule, and if it is approved, it'd be effective the 20th of January, which was yesterday. It was a holiday, but it's also the start of a pay period. So
I'll make a motion to approve the wage scale update.
Second.
Motion made by Scott and second by Jason to approve the part-time seasonal wage scale update. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
okay, and then I did have one more just update for the council. Our utility billing and payroll person that we've had in place for about 3 months when we had retirement and then subsequent filling of positions did turn in her resignation effective today. So we'll be going out and re-advertising that position. We have to do it 5 days for our internal process through the union, and then if we don't have any applicants there, then we'll roll it, go out into the public. But so just want to let you know that.
All right, moving on to new business. We had the Ziegler pay request. Jason, welcome.
Jason Sikora, Electric Utility Manager. So what was handed out is the final payment for the equipment for the generation, so the radiators, the day tanks, and so forth. So this is not the final payment on the building or anything that is being built by Wilcon. So we were kind of just waiting for our formal training to be completed, which was completed on last Thursday. So all of Ziegler's stipulations have been met, so we would ask for approval to pay this invoice. Utility Commission approved it on the 19th of December, and we were waiting. It was waiting to bring it to the council once formal training had been completed. So
I'd make a motion to accept this payment to Ziegler.
I'll second it.
It's a motion made by Jason to approve the payment to Ziegler and second by Scott. Is there any discussion?
Are you up running then with the new generator and everything, or not yet?
Nope, they're fully operational. So we are going to do some testing probably in March. It takes a little bit of work, and we'll also have to take the whole city down and then bring it back up with all the generation. But we have some testing to do before that to work out any bugs that can be worked out prior to doing that, and then we'll perform that, and then we will know that they work correctly. It's not something you want to find out when you want them to work. So
We don't have to wait till June when it's warm then, right?
no, we're looking at March. So we're gonna bring in some giant, basically heaters, load banks, and then we'll set those up. We'll do some preliminary testing with those, up to about 6 megawatts, and then once everything looks pretty good there, we'll schedule an evening, probably, hopefully, very close to that, and take the town down, bring it back up with generation, and then switch back over to the grid, and we'll know everything as it should be. So
How long do you think that will last, that everything is down?
half hour maybe, if everything goes as good as it should. So we'll have a better idea after all the other testing's done, but half hour.
And there'll
And an
be
evening.
as much, just plain notice to the public and other folks, that's why this would be a planned outage.
It'll probably be after all the businesses are closed, probably like a 3 a.m., 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning. So maybe some alarm resets, but that's hopefully about it.
Is there any further discussion or questions that anyone has for Jason? All right. Motion carries. Right, all those in favor? Sorry. Man, I'm just messing this up tonight. I tried to make a cheat sheet. It didn't work out very well. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Jason.
Are we gonna have to warn the apartment buildings and so forth to make sure nobody's hitting the elevator, or?
The last time we did anything like this, we usually put it out in the paper. We hit the radio. A lot of the higher profile businesses, the hotel, we usually get that out. I usually go around and hand out some stuff as far as Toro, that kind of stuff. Quick Trip will probably, they're a 24-hour deal, but we usually do our very best to make sure everybody knows. So. Right.
Thank you. Next on the list of things to do here is talk about the Board of Equalization training, and Jenny Quaid has gone through that training and is going to speak on that for us.
Yes, I believe it was maybe 2 years ago that I did that training. Marv Grunig, our former council person, was the person that had went through the training. And we need to have, at least one person trained on the council when we have the Board of Equalization meetings. It'd be helpful to have at least a second person too, just in case I would not be here or something would happen. And so I think the county is hoping that we will have another person volunteer to go through that training. When I did that, it's just all online, self-paced. It was very easy. You just listen to a bunch of things. There was a lot of graphs and charts that I found very helpful on there. So, it's really not that difficult. It didn't cost any money, and it's all online. So I would encourage, if any other council members would like to do that, to try to get that done.
And then I believe I did send an email out to the council with the item that I'm showing. It's Board of Equalization page from the Department of Revenue with the training link on it. So You should be able to do that. The mayor does get off on this one. The people that are trained have to be voting council members. So you get a pass on this one. You can still do the training, but you get a pass.
Does anybody else volunteer? I suppose we probably don't need to know right now.
February
but-
1st is the deadline to have it done. So if somebody's interested, please look at that email or get a hold of me again, and I can get you this link. But if you're interested, please do. There is a February 1 deadline. So.
Any other discussion on that? Anyone? Okay, anything under old business? Council comments. Calling somebody? Jim, you can start.
Oh, I don't have a whole lot to say, other than what Mike was talking about. Maybe that's why Fauci got a pardon, I don't know. But it could be serious, it may be nothing, I don't know. I didn't get the shot, so I'm not worried about it. But there's a lot of people that did lose their jobs because they refused it. I don't know how many 100,000 in the military that refused it. Now they're going to get all their back pay and get reinstated because somebody else don't necessarily believe all that truth about that coronavirus crap. But you can get pretty sick from it, I know that, because I was laid up for a week, but I've never had any problems since. So that's all I have.
Jason.
I was going to make a comment in relation to Mike Laurie. He had a public comment, and of course anyone in the public can come before the council ahead of time and put in a request, and they can speak to the council about something that they think is important for the city for 5 minutes. So.
No, I actually do not have anything tonight.
Yes, that is a very important thing, that what Mike was talking about, because I've had family members that lost their lives due to COVID, but it's still America. We all have the same choices. We each and every day we go through and decide what's best for each of us. It's unfortunate that he used the hospitals and the name of the hospitals as his agenda, but it's still a choice that we all make, whether it's walking across the street or any other system that helps us or hurts us. It is still our choice to make it. And I feel passionate for him because he lost a very close friend to him, and he does feel passionate about it. And maybe it's strong, dear to his heart, but it's still up to us what we want to do. And then the second thought here is, on the same token, we all have choices to make. And if we all make the right choice to help each other out in this journey of life we live, it makes it a better place. And all I ask is people to do one good thing for other people in this world, and then make it a better place. And that's all I ask, because that's what we do here in Windom. We take care of each other, and we look out for each other. And if we can help each other out by encouraging to do something or encouraging not to do something, it's going to make it a better place. So just try to take care of each other. Thank you.
I don't have anything else either because I'm scared I'm going to screw it up. So I'm going to, with that, thank you all for being here. Thanks, everyone, for the comment. Steve, I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
Adjourned by unanimous consent. You got it.
Adjourned by unanimous consent. We're done.